This is the Granger Movement. The National Grange was founded shortly after the Civil War and was started to help farmers come together and to bring new agricultural advancements. But in the 1870s, many farmers were struggling economically, so it shifted into a movement to address social and economic needs for farmers. The reason why many farmers were struggling during this time was because many were buying land and purchasing new machinery, but needed the money from banks. So many of them were in debt because they weren't able to pay them back. Oliver Kelly was the person who started the National Grange. He was a clerk for the Department of Agriculture who visited southern states after the Civil War, and as he toured the southern states, he saw the lack of innovation and technology among farmers, and he also saw that many of them didn't have that great of an education. So he thought that there needed to be an organization to bring farmers together and to kind of show them the new advancements that they could use in agriculture. And as a result, he formed the National Grange of the Patrons of Husbandry. So there were many cooperative stores in the South where farmers could buy from each other and support one another. And many of these members included women, which was a surprise because at this point in time, many women weren't in a lot of these organizations. But the National Grange wanted to extend a hand to women and also to teenagers as young as 14 because most knew how to work on a farm and use a plow. So many of these stores would only allow people to pay in cash because of the situation that they were in because many were in debt. How the National Grange formed into the Granger Movement was because in the 1870s, um, the economic struggles of farmers during that time caused more membership to grow. So many farmers were borrowing money from banks for land and for new machinery, and because of this new machinery, more was cultivated. So the supply outgrew the demand, and crop prices had plummeted. Therefore, farmers weren't making as much money, and so they couldn't pay back the loans that the bank had originally gave them. And also, banks added an interest, and railroad companies were charging too much to transport crops. So during this time, farmers were just struggling really bad economically because they think that, if I get this new machinery, I'm going to make more crops, which means I'm going to get rich, but that is not what happened. So this kind of helped them unify and eventually led to more of a pushback on local governments. So they would try to put pressure on state governments to help them out and to legislate laws to prevent railroad companies from overcharging. And for a short period of time, this had worked, but railroad companies also pushed back on state governments. And so as a result, the regulations that they had once put on them were lifted. After the Granger movement, we see this formation into farmer alliances, which over time got involved in politics as well as the formation of the Populist Party. Here's where we see the divide between the Granger movement and the farmers' alliances. The Granger movement originally started out to help your average farmer and to bring community and bring a sense of identity for farmers and to help them out in education and also their farming practices. Farmers' alliances were more targeted in politics and, like I said, led to the formation of the Populist Party. And so this party was supposed to represent the hardworking farmers and the common man. The significance of the Granger movement was to show what economic pressures there were on farmers during the Panic of 1873 and just in the 1870s in general. The Granger movement also reduced isolation among farmers because people who lived out in the middle of nowhere would be brought in by social gatherings of people who shared the same needs as they did. And so, as a result, the Granger movement kind of helped unify farmers during this time.